So is this the end of General Motors? Let's talk about it. So General Motors is one of these iconic brands that everybody knows, all right? It's been around for decades and decades. It's employed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in their factories. And it's just one of these iconic brands that, you know, they build cars. They build infrastructure in America that keeps America going. They're very, very noticeable. It's a very big brand, you know. It's like Walmart, the Walmart of cars. So General Motors is facing huge problems right now, and it's really not being reported, all right? Almost all of our car manufacturers are facing the same issue, but I wanted to focus in on General Motors because they just did something big just recently. So starting last year, last September, almost exactly a year ago, GM started shutting down their production plants, all right? And on September 3rd last year, they shut down most of their production plants in all of North America, all right? Did you even hear about that? I don't even remember reading that. This is news to me. So this started years ago, and this is just getting worse. And they shut down over half of their plants in North America, most of their plants. So that was just the beginning. A few months later, they shut down plants again. In March, GM shut down their plants in Indiana for over 2 weeks for a semiconductor shortage. And then just a couple weeks later, plants were shut down again in April. And this time it wasn't over chip shortages, it was over part shortages and supply chain issues. So pretty much the same thing. The chips are just more critical because they come from Taiwan. All right. So this has been leading up. And then in June, all right, truck production at GM's Fort Wayne plant was down. All right, was down for the week because they had chip shortages as well. This is happening all over the country, all over North America. And now GM is closing, or they're pausing their Mexico plant to produce pickup trucks. This is happening all over, and it's for the same reason. It's for chip shortages and part shortages. This stuff in China, this supply chain, this lockdown, this Taiwan situation is catching up to us very quickly. And if you haven't seen, the average price of a car is now over $48,000. Over $48,000. That's insane. In 2019, it was only like 38,000 or 36,000. So just in a few years, it's gone up, you know, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,000, the average cost of a car. Just in a few years. It said just since last year, the average cost went up over $5,000 in 1 year, the average cost of a car. This is out of control. And part of this is because they can't produce the same amount of cars that they were producing before. It's just supply and demand, okay? And I keep bringing up Taiwan because Taiwan is critical. Taiwan is the place where most of these very advanced, you know, chips are made. These semiconductors, they're all made in Taiwan. It's the key. And China knows this. That's why China wants to take back Taiwan, wants to take over Taiwan and take over their infrastructure, take over their facilities. Because if they control the chips, then both of the problems that we're running into here for the cars, China controls. So supply chain, parts, and the chips. China will control both of those. Thankfully, there's some autonomy with Taiwan, and they are a big trading partner for us, and they do supply us with chips. But if China does take over, which honestly, I don't know, if it came down to it, they probably could. They probably could. We've seen very similar situations around the world, all right, where, you know, what did the US do? So look out for Taiwan to be taken over, and look out for GM to face even bigger problems. All right, this has been going on for years now, where they're just shutting down their facilities for weeks at a time because they just don't have any parts. Imagine if you're working at a factory and they're just like, oh, we're shutting down for 2 weeks vacation because we don't have parts to build the truck you're trying to build in your factory, or we don't have the chips for it. That would be insane. All right. And what do these workers do? Do they still get paid? I don't know. I doubt it. They're not working. Maybe they try to fill them into other places, but I'm sure that only goes so far. So this is also affecting real people. People are going to want to work less at GM because it's less reliability. All right. I've made a whole video about Amazon. Amazon's having the same issue too, where they're having such high turnover rates. They're having such just like low quality work conditions, low morale, that nobody wants to work for Amazon, and they've burnt out their whole pool of people that will work for them. They've already run through them all. They've already hired them and fired them, all the people that want to work at Amazon, essentially, outside of these big cities, like big cities like Phoenix or New York or LA. That's where they're really struggling. And it's gonna continue with GM as well. People are gonna want to work there less and less because it's not the same GM used to work at 30, 40 years ago, where you got great retirement. You could work there for 30 years, retire, and you know what I mean, actually buy your family a house, pay off your debt, save up some money. All that, you used to be able to do that on a GM factory worker income, but that just doesn't exist anymore. That's not a thing anymore because we've outsourced all of our shipping, all of our factories, all of our manufacturing to China. So all those prime jobs, all those good jobs that people used to have, they're undercut by people in China. We still have factories here producing, but they're undercut by people in China. All right, they're making all the parts, they're making all the chips, they're making all the stuff, and they're just sending it over, and we're essentially assembling it. We need people producing the parts as well. All right, I mean, isn't that a good thing? Employing people, getting people good jobs, and having a full circle supply chain that's not vulnerable to China or overseas. Isn't that a good thing? So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think is going to happen with these car manufacturers. I'm worried there's going to be a big bailout or something for them in the future, because they just keep raising prices so much to make up for it. It's going to come to a point where people can't afford to buy the cars. They're going to pull back and just look for used cars. But even used cars are skyrocketing. So let me know what you think. This is a huge issue. This affects everything. This affects our truckers. This affects the military. This affects every aspect, these parts for cars and chips for cars and equipment. So thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a big old blessed day. Thank you.